Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. Sorry for being 2 minutes late. My phone was stolen, so I've been having a little bit of issues with the apps and getting everything over to the new device. Okay? So, tonight's topic is going to be about whether or not religion and or spirituality is blocking you from your soul's true purpose. Now, I know a lot of people have, as we all do, have many questions in regards to more religion than spirituality, or the both of them equally. And they're unanswered. And they have been unanswered for probably your entire life, or you've just probably had a hard time getting down to the bottom of whatever this question or concern is. And I'm here to tell you that the real only way to fully know is to embark on the journey, to seek answers. Because a lot of times we say, okay, I'm gonna convert my life over. I'm gonna start studying. I'm gonna start investigating and reading. And we often find that what we hold dear to our heart to be true or the right thing, oftentimes religion can oppose what you swore in your soul to be right. So whether you just to use the Quran, the Bible, or any sacred religious text that will enlighten you on the higher end of the vibrations, you could start there with those texts. Asking elders, people from different religious communities and backgrounds and cultures, are just some simple ways to start really finding answers. And I'm bringing in culture because a lot of the times culture is going to more than likely dictate how a person will respond to you or perceive whatever it is that you're asking, or religion from their own standpoint. A lot of the times people get confused with religion and spirituality, and they're two totally different things. But I know that a lot of people have questions about religion, and a lot of things don't make sense. A lot of things never made sense to me when it came to religion. So I decided to start reading and studying multiple religions on my own, to gather what I may think is the right thing or what makes the most sense to me. And, our souls have their own purpose and journey. So what may resonate with me doesn't have to necessarily resonate with you. And that's important because that's where the growth comes in. And oftentimes, we have these questions and these concerns, and we don't even know if what we're adhering to is of the light, if it's for our greater good, if it's for our soul's growth in the best way possible. And one of the best ways to know that is your comfort level. So if you go to start changing your life and your thinking and your mentality, you'll start seeing the shift in your feelings first, and then ultimately in your thinking and in your behavior. The main way is to gauge your level of comfort. Most of the times when things are not so good for us, we're comfortable with it. Even if it is a change, it's a new change, it's something we can settle in with good, like easily. But when you start to shift in the higher direction, you start shedding all these old ideations and all these old thought processes and behaviors and mentalities, you'll start to begin to feel uncomfortable with this shift. And this is how you know, this is one of the main ways you know something is for your greater good and for the betterment of yourself, and you're actually moving towards a better version of yourself, is by how uncomfortable you become with these changes. A lot of people don't know how to start. So, I like to ask questions. Aside from doing investigations and reading and doing research, I oftentimes go to people that are older than me, and they have a greater sense of self. They have much more wisdom. They have much more life experience, and they're more educated in those areas than I am. So oftentimes, I seek out people that have been practicing, studying these things for probably longer than I've been alive. The elders, and even with that, you have to be careful, because the culture of that person is going to determine how they respond to you. And if you're not careful, you can be swayed in the wrong direction. And not necessarily just a bad direction, but something that's not necessarily good for you and where you're going, the direction that the Most High has intended for your spirit to go. And when it comes to religion and spirituality, when you're not settled in with who you are and you're really confused, you're vulnerable. Your spirit is vulnerable, your mind is vulnerable, your heart is vulnerable. And it'll be really easy for someone to plant seeds in you that probably don't need to be growing. It's easy to become lost when you don't have the understanding. So, before I head out, I'm going to leave you guys with this understanding, and it helped me a great deal. I had took my shahada when I was 16. We talked about this before, and I'll go back into it in a little more detail, but just to give you an idea of how I started really embarking without knowing that my soul was doing this. Because I had grew up in a Christian home by a Catholic woman, by a previously Catholic practicing woman. My grandmother who raised me, she was raised in a Catholic home, and then she converted to a different sect of Christianity later on. And then I, after being baptized 3 times, had taken my shahada when I was 16. Just after my 16th birthday, just after the death of my father and my little brother. So I realized that I had been questioning the purpose of life, pretty much my whole life. Why are we here? And I'm a Sagittarius, and I know that this is a classic question for a lot of philanthropists and anthropologists and religious scholars and scientists and people who are really deep with their thinking when it comes to religion and spirituality, mainly spirituality. And I have been asking this question for so long. Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? And to this day, I have gathered, obviously, a lot of information, and I've accumulated a lot of different things that can probably answer it in short. But that can only be applied to myself. I'm not the only living thing, right? Everything around us in And the earth is alive. Even the earth itself is alive. So that question still hadn't been answered to me in full. It was only answering some of my questions in regards to my life and my existence and the purpose for me. And even still, it hadn't made all its rounds around the table. So again, the question still remained. So, again, before we head out, I'm going to encourage you to really start looking into different cultures, different ideations, and kind of start looking at the similarities across the board. And that'll be a good starting point. Because initially the topic of this segment was the question: does religion block you from navigating your soul's purpose? Now, that wasn't verbatim, and I may have tweaked some words or whatever, but overall, this is something that I know for sure is a question a lot of people have that have been awakening and going through the dark night of the soul and coming into contact with their karma and their dharma, and the ones that are the black sheeps and the anointed ones. It's time to rise in the spirit. It's time to start moving. It's time to become more mobile, and it's time to start getting out there more and becoming more accessible to the masses. So this question has to be posed, because it's going to really help us hone in on who we are and keep us in line and not be swayed back and forth with our spiritual self, our true self, our thinking, our understanding of ourself and everything around us and what it is we're supposed to be doing, because it's going to be really easy to confuse a person if they don't understand who they are within religion or spirituality. Can or does this religion have to totally agree with what you understand to be true or what you feel to be true? Again, scouting answers from everything is the best way to start answering those questions that you have that tend to have gone unanswered for really long periods of time. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Start looking. Question everything. Look for an understanding to what can be answered. God has a lot of things unanswered for a reason, because He just simply doesn't want us to know. And that's, something that I've learned about Him, that not everything is to be answered. Some things are to be left a mystery. And the only way you could know, hey, you might be the one to discover something groundbreaking and help everyone realize something, And the only way you could do that is to embark on a journey. You have to get started. So, yeah, that's the question I'm going to leave you guys with. Is religion stopping you or preventing you from following your true instincts? Does everything you know, believe, or understand have to align with religion, what religion says? Yeah, that's it. So, we're back on tomorrow. I hope your weekend was good. I hope you ate something really good. You broke your fast. If you're fasting, I hope you slept well. I hope you sleep well. I hope all is well. I hope you're drinking your water, eating your fruit, and minding your business. And I hope you rested well. And I hope you had a great read if you're reading. And over and out. Peace. Love you.